Hey guys, and welcome back. This is part 2 of lesson 7D. You were asked to do a try me in the last piece of the video. I've thrown up the answers. I want you guys to notice here that when you do the synthetic division, you get a remainder of 16, so your answer ends up being x plus 6 plus 16 over x minus 3 for your remainder. And when you plug in p of 3, which notice that's what we put in here, right? P of 3, we got the answer 16. So in fact, notice the remainder and the answer P of 3 were the same. So there's a really cool theorem that says that the answer is the same as the remainder. The remainder theorem states that if a polynomial, P of x, is divided by x minus c, where c is a constant, then the remainder of this division will be the same as P of c. So let's take a look at this to use the remainder theorem to find the answer of P of 3 if P of x equals 2x to the 5th minus 18x to the 4th plus 90x squared plus 57x. I don't know about you guys, but simply plugging in 3 to that looks like a pain in the rear end. However, synthetic division is really fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to synthetically divide this. I'm going to put 3 in my divisor box. And notice we have a missing term right here in our descending terms. We're missing x cubed. So we're going to line up our terms. 2, negative 18. I have a 0 for the x cubed, 90x squared, 59x, and then we have another missing term. The constant term's missing, so a 0 term for the constant. Draw a bar, and we just start. We always start off by dropping down the first term. So that's a 2. Then we multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. Then we add straight down. Negative 18 plus 6 is negative 12. We multiply. Negative 36. We add. Negative 36. We multiply. That becomes negative 108. And we add. That becomes negative 18. We multiply. 3 times negative 18 is negative 54. And we add. I get 5. And we multiply. I get 15. And we add. We get 15. So, if my remainder is 15, then P of 3 must also be 15. That's my answer. So that's a lot easier than plugging in into horrendous equations. So now I want you guys to try this one. Go ahead and give it a try, and we'll ask you here in a second what you get. And let's now take a look at this one. We want to divide h of x equals x cubed plus x plus 10 by x plus 2. I'm going to use synthetic division. So if I've got x plus 2 as the term, I put a negative 2 in my divisor box. Then x cubed, that's a 1 in front of there that I'm not seeing. I'm missing the x squared term, so I'm going to put a 0. Plain x is just a 1. And then I have a 10, just 10. And I'm going to drop down my first term. I get a 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And I add. 0 plus negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. We add, I get 5. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. I add, I get 0 for my remainder. So my answer here would have just been x squared minus 2x plus 5 with no remainder. Since the remainder is 0, the remainder theorem also tells us that the value of h of negative 2 would also equal 0. This means that negative 2 is actually a 0 or a solution to the polynomial equation. So we therefore know that x plus 2 is a factor of x cubed plus x plus 10. And a polynomial p of x has x minus c as a factor if and only if f of c is equal to 0. So let's take a look at this guy. I'm going to use the remainder theorem to evaluate p of negative 2 for p of x equals x cubed plus 5x minus 4x minus 20. So if I want p of negative 2, that means I put negative 2 in my divisor box. Then I line this out. I have a 1 in front of the x cubed that I'm not seeing, a positive 5, a negative 4, and a negative 20. Then we drop down the first term, that's a 1, multiply to get negative 2, add to get 3, multiply to get negative 6, add to get negative 10. Multiply to get positive 20, add to get 0. So my answer is p of negative 2 is 0. And the factor theorem therefore tells us that x plus 2 is a factor of p of x, meaning it divides without a remainder. So that means that x cubed plus 5x squared minus 4x minus 20 is equal to, and can be factored into the form, x plus 2 times, looking right here, x squared plus 3x minus 10, right? Because this matches this right here. So this actually can give us some really nice factors. But we can actually go a step further. We can now continue factoring this. So if I've got x plus 2 times x squared plus 3x minus 10, I can set that equal to 0 if I want to solve it, right? Well, I'm now going to factor the trinomial right there. The x plus 2 just hangs out, and my trinomial can factor using a C method. Two numbers that multiply to negative 10 and add to positive 3 are x plus 5 and x minus 2. Now that's fully factored. I set each of my factors equal to 0 to solve. Come on, why are you doing this to me today, guys? X plus 5 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. So x can equal negative 5, negative 2, or positive 2. Those are my solutions for that equation. All right, guys, we're going to do the next part in class together, so just hold on to your horses. Be sure to complete your practice for 4C by next class, and I'll see you then. Thank you.